Cord. How's
Me. It's going well.
Good.
It's going well.
Good.
I'm sad. I'm sad.
Aw.
This has been wonderful. I've really enjoyed this whole experience. This entire story has been just so cool to be a part of, both as an actor and then taking on the role of producer throughout this entire year. Has just been a wild ride and been just so fucking cool. So I've been really enjoying it.
Good. That's nice. Have you got like a favorite moment, a favorite scene? Like a thing that is there a scene that you'll hold with you for a long time?
Yeah. I think my favorite scene or my favorite moment, like quick, easy moment, I think is like Kronkwall scene, is I think when he was spinning around with Gulag on the rope rigging of the Sirocco with his mouth clamped onto the rope and just going and just that was a lot of fun. And I feel like that set a lot of the scene and set a lot of the spirit up for the Silt Expanse. I feel like that was the scene where we're like, oh, well, this is nuts, and we just kind of had fun ever since, which has been wonderful. I think when it comes to like epic moments, I think fighting what I think I really loved about this whole thing is I did talk to Chris in the beginning of this, and I was like, I kind of want to see how we, in like the beginning of season 2, see how we can do like Kronkwall as if he was like a Jedi. And I think we did a really cool way of doing that, and just being a Dark Sun Jedi the whole time, and like having that double-bladed lightsaber battle at the top of the temple with a blood god was super cool to me, and I will always cherish that moment of just, I'll hold them back, and of course in my mind it's a lightsaber, not a staff, but it was, of course, yeah, of course, but it was super cool. The whole thing was it's been super amazing, so it's been really great.
Yeah, for me too. Well, good. Plug time. What do you got to plug?
Nothing. Didn't see that coming, did you? Haha! If you want to follow me, check me out on Twitter. That is the best way and the one-stop shop to find out what I'm doing and when I'm doing it. I produce things here for LFM. I also act and perform over on Table Story. I also have my own stream that I produce and stream from as well. So check me out. I'm also doing a homebrew world that will be releasing here soon. It probably already has released, so that'll be fun. It's going to be in a D&D world. Volatile magic and cosmic mystery. So check that stuff out. And that'll be on my Patreon, patreon.com/mythematic, to find out more information about all of that and when I will be writing some things for that. That's me. And yeah, follow me or don't. Thank you.
Hey, babe.
Hi.
How's it going? Happy with that?
Yeah, all right. How are you?
Endings go, I'm good. As endings go, you are a sick puppy.
Chaos is a ladder. I'm looking forward to, well, I'm not looking forward. It's the end of the campaign, but yeah, I'm definitely seeing Rysar capitalizing on all this stuff. Like, who said House Sereno assassins tried to get this nonsense? Destroy House Tumbledore. Yes.
Well, it's been a long campaign for you because you were part of season 1 as well.
Absolutely, it's been a year. It's been a fantastic year. Like, I'm so grateful to LFM and Joe Garani of Gennari. I don't know how to say his surname. I've never met him, but founder of LFM. Like, he doesn't get any shout outs, and he absolutely should. Don as well. It's been such a fantastic ride. And all the staff, like Cord for teching and stuff, like Billy does something. I don't even know what PR or something. I don't know, but I so loved that I did the pre-scene with Horson. Billy plays Horson, and then it came full circle, and then he was back right at the end as well. And also, I want to give a shout out to Matt Chapman, who's the editor of Dragon Magazine Plus, who, Chris, you know very well as well.
Yeah, you're a friend of mine.
Yeah, because he actually he forwarded me the tweet of the casting.
Such a Matt thing to do.
Yeah. He's fucking all, because it's his job. He's all over Twitter for stuff.
Yeah.
He forwarded me the tweet for like LFM when they were like just in their infancy and casting and stuff. And I'm like, oh, come and play D&D with the streamers. I was like, they want me, might as well try. Fucking love D&D. And now it's a year later. But,
Speaking of chappers, where can people see you and Matt Chapman relatively soon, Toby?
Agents Redux, Agents the Nine Hells Redux. Check Roll Together on Twitter. Chris, you know what the handles are. I don't.
Right. I'll do it at the end. It's fine.
Google it. I just type it in the address bar. It usually finds it. But that's brilliant. That's also starring Breedo, who was Bree, who's in this as well. So and actually Andreas and Bree's character, my character's Andreas. A bit of it's a bit heated. It's a bit hot under the collar at the moment. It's it's very different. If you want to see a juxtaposition to Rysar, then it is. I'm based on Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You're based on Conan. It's not quite the same thing.
Well, yeah, Conan and Antonio Banderas in 13th Floor.
Yeah. Well, hey, babe, you know I take you for a ride every time we play together, because I do, but you know I love you very much, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. It was lovely playing with you as always, babe.
Oh, check me out on social. Find me on social. I realised I did a post on Instagram and a post on Twitter about a film I was in recently. And I've got 10... This isn't a boast. I've got 10 times the amount of engagements on Instagram than I have on Twitter. So for fuck's sake, everyone get on my Twitter, please. It's like a dead fish. It's embarrassing.
Why not read out what they are, and then we'll tie up this, supposed to be short outro.
Just Google me, you'll find me. Right, at Toby Osmond, I think, is Twitter. Yeah, at Toby Osmond.
Thank you very much.
Mr.T.Osmond on Instagram, because I wanted Mr. T in my name. At Toby Osmond, actor on Facebook.
Thank you, Toby. See you soon, though.
Bye.
Bill, buddy. How was that? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. That was a super fitting ending for everything, and it moved. It went some places. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of at a loss for words at the moment. I just love doing this. I can't, I'm really fortunate, and I'm really thankful that the universe has placed me on this journey, I guess, on this path that I've been walking down to bump into you initially, 2010, maybe 2009, and then by consequence, all of these other amazing people, and yeah, I couldn't have asked for anything better. It was truly something interstellar.
I know for a lot of the people in Rise of the Veiled Alliance, it was my first time playing with them or running a game for them. Of course, I've been lucky enough in my life to get to play with you and tell a lot of stories with you. And every single time, Bill, the characters that you create, that you imagine from the ground up, right? Like you started the building blocks, the smallest level, and you build up and you build such a compelling, complex, dynamic character. It always changes. They always change over the course of a game, and I'm always surprised by them. And I could not be, as a dungeon master, I couldn't be a bigger fan. I could not be of all of these people, and always every time we get to play together of you. And I loved Horson. I thought Horson had this incredible arc where they were the reluctant hero that didn't want to be part of the story initially, and then they were, and then they cared, and then they changed, and I loved watching those moments of discovery. When you look back at the campaign and the whole story, is there a moment or a scene where like something happened and you said, I understand who Horson is now and where he's going, like just a moment that is going to stay with you, into the future as you play other games and tell other stories?
I mean, I can mention moments with everyone, but I think the biggest was in Eltaruk with Baru, where Ebo and Horson went underground with Baru to hunt the Yuan Ti and the origins of Tiraman. And like I wasn't expecting a huge thing, but it happened, and then I was living in Horson for a moment, and then witnessing Baru's sacrifice and dying strokes to go after her quarry, and Horson couldn't do that, and that was a big deal for him. And then the path became different because he realized that it's obvious that that's not who he was. He was not the fighter he thought he was. When ultimately tested, he chose to flee, which in turn saved Ebo's life, and then 100% changed his course onto exactly what it needed to be. I wasn't planning for that to happen. That happened. Like, everything you saw, all the emotions and everything came straight out of that moment and manifested. And like, I lived with that for weeks. Like, I would think about that in my car, just driving around. If I'd be singing System of a Down in the shower, and then minutes later relive that moment weeks later. Just bonkers how things like that can do that to you. And it's the story, sure, but even more so it's the people and the communal collaboration of storytelling that I can't speak enough towards. It's really an honor to do this with so many selfless people that are wanting to make a story with you, to connect with you and create something amazing. And if you go back and watch through the campaign, like Sam, especially Ebo, Christina, I've had really impactful moments with Dia. Charlie and I developed this whole crazy backstory. And Horson is sad that it ended up like it did, but that's things happen. Yeah, it's just this is some next level stuff, and always thankful for Cord doing all the amazing stuff that he's been doing, relentlessly self-improving, just amazing. And Don, just like there's nobody out there like you. So I want to appreciate everything that you've done, everything that you are, and for making this, and I guess thanks to LFM for making it happen. I feel like you wanted a short answer, and I gave you a fucking diatribe.
No, I could listen to you talk all day about things that you love, and that's one of the great many things about this campaign is that everybody loved their characters so much, and was so passionate about their stories, and we had the opportunity to tell a great big story all together. It was challenging to manage. It was challenging to try to make sure that actions had consequences and that we were staying collaborative, and the plot itself was a big one. It was a thick one. And I love, but everybody, it worked because everybody was just playing their character and giving it their very, very best to do so with passion and honesty. And I'm love Horson. I'm excited for his future. It's not what I would have guessed his story would have ended as when you first began, but it's so fitting, and it shows so much growth. And I just think that's cool as hell. Absolutely.
Yeah. I feel we've got a good relationship. We've been doing this for a while, and I've always considered myself the Helena Bonham Carter to your Tim Burton. So
that's my new Twitter bio. I needed a change, and that's it. So thank you for that. Speaking of, Bill, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you, whatever you want to say about yourself, what you're up to the people.
Yeah. You can find me on the internet at Bill of the Forest, Twitter. I have an Instagram that I never post stuff to, which is not going to be exciting at all. And what's going on in 2021 for me is that if you got an open spot in your game and you're looking to cast a large, loudmouth, bearded white dude, I'm your guy. But like, I shouldn't be your first choice. But maybe up there, I don't know. It's up to you. If you want me, hit me up. I can make some things work. But I want other people deserve opportunities more than me. So make sure you do that first, and then let me be your like fourth or fifth choice. I think that's solid.
You could do no finer than to have Bill at your table, and please do go check out anything else Bill's up to. He's always going to leave you laughing, sometimes crying, and always entertained. And he's just a great human being like everybody else in this cast. An amazing example of what it means to be a good person. So thank you, Bill.
No, you, Don.
Sam,
Hi.
you made it. You made it. You did. Your speech tonight was so good. How are you feeling?
Oh, fortunately, I wasn't speaking in front of a whole big crowd. I was just coming up with public speaking extemporaneously, so I'm doing much better than Marilla was, but I'm very proud of them. It has been a thing for them this whole campaign, and they faced their fear in a very big way.
Yeah, and I loved that the first half of this is Marilla doing what Marilla does a lot, being sneaky, being very effective in combat situations where it turns out that they are incredibly adept, and that doesn't shake them at all. You know, the snake ritual, everything that's happening, they're keeping it cool. But
Gosh, not scary. Snake monsters, not scary. Talking in front of people, terrifying. How could you ask this of me? Yes, that's Marilla.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing, and I loved your idea for what you wanted to do with Marilla and how you wanted them to, try to use their power to make meaningful change that doesn't include stabbing things. And I thought it was so cool. I've had such a great time from the very first scene where we got to play together, the entire arc of this incredible character that you've played and all the people you've interacted with. I'm really, really grateful, and I'm grateful to have gotten the opportunity to know you and play with you. It's been an absolute joy. Absolute joy.
I feel the same way. This has been so fun. Every member of the cast has such skill and so much to teach in their own ways and are such delights to play off of. I think with every single person, no matter how much scene time one gets with them, one immediately wants more. Truly the Pringles of performers.
And it does seem like, this was a chunky story with a lot of 27 or so sessions and nice sized sessions, and I agree. Like all of the time where the characters got to be together and interact and relate to each other, that role play between the different cast was always phenomenal. And I always, as the dungeon master, I always wanted more too. And I'm very just grateful that we got everything we got. When you look back at the campaign, is there a point in the campaign where like something significant clicked for you or changed for you, or is there a particular scene or memory that surprised you, something you'll take with you?
Well, I think the most surprising thing was not a moment necessarily, but an arc that you and I have talked about a little bit off camera, but we'll let the people in on some secrets, which is the relationship between Marilla and Lord Lucius, whom we kind of built to be a maximum sourpuss, and whom I originally expected that as Marilla grew more secure in themselves, would rebel or push away from and reject their father's like old-timey like values. And I was so surprised and so pleased to see what ended up developing between them of a child who had never really known their father in any sense, but particularly in any way but imposing and intimidating and rejecting and criticizing. And a man who did not know how to have emotions openly in front of his own family until there really was just one family member left, and these two characters learning how to be a family together was this unexpected, precious, soft arc that made me care so much at all times and was a beautiful product of the choices you made moment to moment playing that character, and that I got to experience playing with you.
I love that too. It's always nice as the dungeon master or when you're running a game to be surprised by, an NPC that maybe you expect they're going to be one way, or maybe you don't think they're going to be very important, but then there's like a spark of something, and then you and the players collaborate and you build on that spark, and it becomes something more real and something more layered. And what I really, really loved about the way that you played Marilla was how just incredibly earnest and honest you were constantly, but in relationship to their father, Lucius, just so vulnerable. And it's easy, maybe, I don't know, I want to say it's easy, but like I think a lot of players in D&D, I think the first instinct might be to play like openly rebellious against a father that acts on the surface like he does, but you took it this other way that just seems so incredibly, I don't know, it made my heart hurt, but at the same time I thought it was brilliant and so true. And to see how that led to where Marilla ended up as the head of her house, changing the minds of powerful people in this ancient city. It's always been the same way for thousands of years. That is
I'm making their father proud.
Making their father proud. Making their father proud. I loved it. I loved it so much, Sam. So thank you. Thank you. This entire year and getting to play with you has been incredible. I look forward to all of the new stories that are to come in the year and years to come ahead. Where can the people find more of you, and what would you like to share with them?
Yes, people of Balak. If you want to find me when I am not tearing down power structures in this game, you can find me as a role-playing performer and variety streamer throughout the Twitchernet. Each season I am playing in new games, and so my personal Twitch schedule is the most up-to-date place to find the things that I'm doing. That's twitch.tv/Delevely, Delevely. I also got the Twitter. It's right up there, so you got it. And between the two of those, that's pretty much where the people can see this face inside your internet void.
Thanks, cool. Michael. Wow. Congratulations on playing not one but two great characters in this campaign. Even though we've only known Varen but briefly, I really, really dug him. How are you doing after all that? How are you feeling?
Great. I'm getting to tie up some ends with Ebo. Similarly to Christina Akasha, this is the first character I've had die in a contiguous campaign. I've had the first ever campaign death in a one shot, but I mean it's a one shot, right? So it's like,
yeah,
you're not so overly, yeah, you're not that invested. But this is a character I invested in, Ebo, that is, and was great. It was wonderful, fabulous. It just feels so complete. Like I didn't intend for that to be his. I thought he was going to live a much longer life, and able to see Villery again, and be there for, until he like passed and got to be part of that village, physically. And it was just, but the way that it all ended was very complete.
I thought so too. I've been thinking about Ebo's death a lot, and the entire like trajectory of his story. And he's such a unique character, and you brought such unique ideas to Dark Sun, how to use magic and how to use it in a positive way within like the mechanics and the rules of the world, which I always thought was amazing. Looking back at it now, is there a moment or an episode or a scene? Is there something that you look back and like, that's going to stick with you over time?
I think, okay, so this is easier question. I think I felt like I was actually in that ship, that vessel, when I was sharing the spells with Marilla and Van. I think that was a special scene, and just the gravity in that room, in that ship, was so strong that it felt that I was physically there. I could feel the hot wind there. I can feel the cold metal of the ship, and hot in some places, depending where you are. It was very real, kind of feel, and because of that, Ebo was kind of, people got to see Ebo in a very intimate way, I think.
I loved that those series of scenes, but the teaching moments as well, I thought were very, very cool, and they had a very big impact. They ended up having a really big impact on the story. Michael, for me, I'm so grateful to have gotten to play with you for the first time in this, and I loved the uniqueness and the thoughtfulness you brought to both of your characters. I loved getting to see you interact with the other players, and also play good D&D, use your character's abilities and spells in really like fun, interesting ways and really effective ways. I'm glad I got to know you through this, and I'm looking forward to whatever happens in the future. But I'm very, very thankful, and you're a fantastic role player and storyteller. I hope you get to tell so many more great stories moving forward. As far as like what's coming up next, do you have anything that you're working on right now that you want to share, that you're able to share?
Yeah, and before I go from there, I wanted to say that you've been an excellent dungeon master. You've taken things and ran with it, which was really awesome to see, and you create the space for us to roleplay really well. You create the theater or the space for us to have these really strong moments. So it's not all on us, but you definitely are someone who supports and enables that. And the rest of the cast, like this whole cast is really talented. I was very intimidated when I first came on. And sometimes I still am, in good ways, as I get to learn. Someone who, Marilla, Sam, they're the way, the intensity, and how they're so, what's the word for it, engaged in their character and scene. It's something I look up to a lot, and I want to get better. And yeah, Bill's bringing references in, Charlie with Charlie and just how she maneuvered that character, amazing. And Akasha with Christina with a double character. So I just want to say it was an honor and a treat to role play with everyone here, and I still am learning. And this cast is a wonderful cast to be with. And then what I'm working on, right? Yeah, so what I'm working on currently is I'm still in school. I haven't been much on lots of media. I've been just playing some games and not playing on Twitch. So I don't know. I think I just needed to unplug for a bit. But I still do TTRPG things all the time. So that's something that I enjoy, and that's how I get connected with other people. That's how I maintain connection as an introvert. So I have Into the Motherlands, which Christina Ariel spoke into. Fabulous Group, all BIPOC folks, and I play a special character there as well. I think it's one of my most serious roles of role playing. Someone that requires, or deserves rather, a lot of respect, love, and care, and that character is amazing. And then I'm on Bayforge Academy, which is a bright light podcast compared to most other things that I'm doing, where I play like a teenage warlock who is celestial and is kind of twice removed or once removed from being a prince. So it's a very interesting, awesome character. But yeah, those are the things I have going on. Hopefully I can get out this season and do some skiing and snowboarding. But yeah, that's it.
I hope you're able to too. Please check out everything that Michael's doing. He's part of a lot of really, really cool projects, and this is the end of 1 year and the beginning of a new year that's going to have all new opportunities and stories to tell. I'm looking forward to what you're doing next. Looking forward to the next time we get to play together. It's been a real, real joy for me, Michael, so thank you very, very much. When I think of all the character deaths and we've had a lot in this game, but in D&D, like, you've seen a lot. What I think I'm going to remember about Ebo the most is that he never, ever, ever, even if he didn't think that he was going to die, there was no hesitation. There was no fear. He realized what was happening, and he did what he did using a lifetime of experience that was very specific to him, knowledge that was very specific to him. And when you played out that, I just love that visual image of him, his spirit, his ghost, kind of becoming a protector, that tree of life in this land of death. And that image, it's gonna haunt me. And I love that you painted that. So thank you.
Yes,
thank you.
I love leaving fragments, no matter what, onto different people and different things. So that's awesome to hear. That's cool. Yeah. What's the other thing I was thinking? I still have to talk to Sam or Marilla. I don't know if they know. I don't know if you disclose what they have on their person as far as the ritual or the ceremony thing that they have, but it's be interesting when they actually go through that. So
I'm looking forward to Varen actually getting to, I love this idea that there's a new player, and maybe none of the other characters who are still playing their politics and playing their games in Valak are really aware that, there's Varen on the outside watching, becoming involved, and nothing in Valak is ever going to be anything but complicated. And I love that you've brought that into the game with a character that you've only played for a couple of sessions, but it has been very, very cool. So thank you one more time, Michael, and we will see you again real soon.
Yeah, see you folks later, and see you soon.
How's it going? We're at the end.
Yeah, we are. And it's bittersweet, but it was good. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah. You happy with how it all went? Was it a fun experience for you?
It was a fun experience. It was a very fun experience being a chaotic actual rat of a person.
Yes.
Just trying my best to know what's going on. Just the perfect player audience insert of, I don't know what's happening, but I'm here anyways.
And thank you so much for Seren, the perfect comedy, nothing's ever working character. I rolled so many times throughout that entire campaign to see if Seren would do something, would break out of his shell, but no, never did. Always rolled too low, and the end exemplifies that.
The greatest thing about that is that we didn't plan for Seren to be there at all.
We did
not. He was supposed to stay home. He did not.
No, he did not, and became a crucial part of the group. I think that kind of helped. Having someone there who was literally useless, but that was the point. Someone who was there for other reasons and not there to roll lots of damage rolls and that sort of thing. It's good. Do you have a favorite moment, a thing that you're going to remember for a long time?
Oh God! Like I think just all the bonding moments for everybody was so good. I think the thing that still popped into my head as a comedy moment is when we all did so terribly on our perception checks, and we just ended up rolling with it. So we're either looking in the wrong direction, or just have very canonically bad eyesight now. It's just this three of us just going off into the distance.
Yeah.
One person actually going. Yeah, no, there's just a lot of very good moments. And it's gonna stick with me. All this silly little chaos that we're able to come up with as a group.
Yeah. Well, tell the internet, tell the world, where can we find more about you? What are you currently up to?
Yeah, so you can find me over on Twitter at KennaS. I do a lot of TTRPG stuff, whether that's writing or streaming or whatever else. I am one half of Salty Sweet Games, which is a TTRPG and video game channel. We do a weekly series of Pulp Cthulhu, Max of Nyarlathotep, and a variety of other stuff that's coming up, including a podcast, a Fear Itself actual play podcast called Missing Anna Lee, which will be coming out very soon by the time this episode comes out. So we're very excited to have that, and we're super excited we have like a fundraiser going on to help support the production behind it. You get some really cool behind the scenes notes and all that good stuff. I think we have merch as well. So,
I think we have merch.
It's one of those, we're almost there at the time of recording. I'm pretty sure.
The classic merch problem. Do you have merch? I don't know. Probably.
Probably. But yeah, so you'll be able to hear, I'm one of the co-producers of that, and you'll be able to hear my voice on it as well as one of the cast members. But yeah, otherwise I'll just be floating around the internet. KennaS kind of everywhere. You'll find me where you need me.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Kiana.
Thank you.
Bree, it's the end of Rise of the Veiled Alliance. How are you doing?
I'm sad.
Aww.
Yeah, well, it's bittersweet because I never thought I would have been able to have the opportunity to do something like this, and this was like my introduction into professional streaming. So I don't know, it has a special place in my heart and stuff and all that mushy shit. And just so.
Do you have a favorite moment? Is there a thing that stands out for you as this is the point where it just nailed it?
God. I probably say when Kita saved Gulag from that salt hole, for lack of a better word. I don't know. That was just a really empowering moment because I'm she is literally carrying this giant up a wall. And it was oh my gosh, this is why I like doing what I do, because you get to tell stories like this. You get to have moments like this. So yeah.
Definitely. It was a great moment. I love DMing that moment too. Thank you for sharing that back. That's good. Yeah. So before you go, Bree, tell us all about what you're up to at the moment. I mean, what have you got coming up in terms of streaming and other stuff? What's happening?
So, I am currently a part of TPK Roleplay's Hand of the Frost Maiden campaign, and it's intense. And I'm having a lot of fun with that. And I also have some really exciting things coming up with Swords Fall that I'm not going to say right now. And also, Agents of Hell Redux is so much fun on Roll together. I also get to, unfortunately, play with Toby. But
I apologize. He's really, really popular. I can't help that. It's just the way it is.
No. Play with Toby and that campaign is oh my god, it's so much fun. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm doing that, and I'm working on my own stuff. Working on my Twitch channel. I just started streaming probably a few weeks ago, and yeah, I'm just kind of doing my own thing in my little corner of the internet, and just doing the shit ton of TTRPG stuff. So,
where can people find your stuff, and where can they find you?
Yeah, so I am on Twitter at burrito_, and then I'm also on Instagram at burrito too. So I post all kinds of stuff about what I'm doing, post a lot of social justice shit because I mean, why not?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just like to be very candid on my social media. So like if you don't mind that, like you can follow me. So yeah, and I also have Patreon, so help because the bitch is broke. So no, but seriously though. Yeah, that's where you can find me on the internet, on the interwebs.
Thank you, Brie.
Yeah, thank you.
Christina, hello. Welcome back to Dark Sun one final time. How are you feeling after all that?
Well, outside of 10 Candles, I've never had a character die, especially one that I had invested well over a year into. So that's a thing that happened, but it was also a thing I initiated. So, emotionally prepared. I like my ultimate goal in all of these things is to make my DM cry or at least tear up a little bit. So I'm hopeful that that was the case.
Yeah, the final scene with, well, I think the last two scenes that Akasha and Laguerre had with their grandfather definitely got me a little bit. And I loved playing that relationship between the two of them. And it's heartbreaking, when the bad guy kind of wins a little bit, like Laguerre, she gets Akasha's body. And, after all this time of Akasha having these big dreams and trying to like understand what that entails and the friendships she makes and the relationships that she has with like her house and her grandfather, to see evil prevail is a really good story. And I really enjoyed watching how much you changed, your character changed as the circumstances changed over the course of this year-long campaign. You're looking back at it now. Do you have like is there like a specific scene or an episode or a moment like, that just felt so good? Something you'll hold on to?
I think honestly having that relationship with Lord Atlas was very, I guess it formed a lot of who Akasha is to me personally, just to have this person that no matter what believes in you and supports you, and no matter how little you think of yourself, they think the world of you. And that's like such a powerful thing. And so I think that's how we ended up back with Lord Atlas, because that's the only person that she, even in her most self-absorbed states, her grandfather was her base, was her home place. And so I don't know, I love Akasha, and just seeing the change in her from the beginning to now, and not knowing what was going on with these shifts in her personality, and knowing that this was Laguerre the entire time, just trying to take control of her. And even with Laguerre trying to play nice at the beginning and present this like innocent, demure kind of like, oh, I say really off things, but I'm just a side of her. But it was a side that was trying to control her, and to know that she didn't win. Like, she didn't become Caesar. She didn't do any of these things. And sometimes that's life. Sometimes life is not getting your dreams. Sometimes life is not seeing all these things that you hope for come to fruition, even though you hope it will be. And it was kind of powerful to be able to play that and to know ultimately that there wasn't a happy ending. And I'm okay with that, because I feel it was just her journey.
I thought it was a great story, and I really like, despite how it ended and how kind of dark it became towards the end, was always so excited by the creativity that you brought to it, the different ideas you had, the music. Obviously, all of the music you brought to the campaign, which I feel like just gives it life. And then, I think for me, maybe tops for me just because it's so wild and it was so cool is the fight scene that you did a couple of episodes ago where Laguerre and Akasha are fighting each other and it's just really you fighting yourself. I mean, I could just sit back and I was just able to watch that. But for me, getting to play Lord Atlas and getting to play a character who, like, he can't, if he sees the fault in Akasha, if he sees, where maybe she's making mistakes, like, he can't bring himself to say anything about it because he loves her so much and knows that she needs somebody who needs that. And that was an exciting NPC that I didn't know was going to be exciting when we first started, and it grew over time. So I'm always grateful for that kind of like organic role play thing that comes up over the course of a game. It's been a joy to get to Dungeon Master for you for the first time over the course of the past year, and it's been a long campaign, a really big story, and even though Akasha didn't come out on top in the end, there's so many times where Akasha saved the day, and I think that's D&D. It was really, really, really cool, and I'm very grateful for it.
I'm grateful you let me fight with myself, like, and just were like, yeah, that is one of the. I almost tweeted about it the other day. So like, it's such a fun thing to have someone give you that kind of free reign to just, as I've said before, use your whole ass imagination. And that was just, it was fun. It made me stretch as a role player and a game player. And I'm grateful for this time with you. You're a fantastic storyteller and you have extremely emotional eyes. So it's very easy to kind of get sucked into that and to feel there's more of a genuine nature to the game that you're playing and to the story that you're telling together. And it's important to have that moment, and you don't get that with a lot of people, that it genuinely feels like a cathartic experience. And so thank you for that.
I feel the same way. The catharsis is for me too, seeing people make really cool decisions and have really cool moments, and just to be able to, help them have those moments in whatever way I can. That's what I love the most, and we got so much of it in this story. So I'm really grateful, and I love how it ended with Akasha. What about Christina? Christina, are you up to anything cool that you're allowed to tell us about, or anything you want to plug?
Well said. Well, I'm getting ready to do the season finale of Into the Motherlands, which has been a really fun campaign for me to play an android and to play this system and the setting that's never been done before, with a really cool system being Cortex, and that's also available in podcast form. So if you have Stitcher, Apple Podcast, anything, you can listen to Into the Motherlands. If you're not a watch person, if you are, you can go to Cypher Tears YouTube and watch that. I'm really excited about the show I've been doing with Mark Meir called Improvised Champions on the C&E Games Twitch. We just have been playing essentially game sports commentators over a playthrough of Idle Champions, and it's really fun to play all of the NPCs and just to go back and forth with Mark Meir, who's just a masterclass in voice acting. So it's been really, really fun. And so we've got a lot more coming up with that. So it's going to be exciting to kind of see how that plays out and to just get to goof off with him every week on Mondays at 1 p.m. EST on twitch.tv/CNE Games. Lots of cool stuff. Got some really great stuff coming up in the first quarter of the new year. Can't talk about it yet, but I'm really excited, and hopefully people continue to support. And I love to create and to just get to play for a living. So thanks for the support, and I hope that people continue to support and pay attention to my stuff and find me on the internet at Christina Arielle, KRYSTINA ARIELLE. If you spell it wrong, it's not me. Even though there is another Christina Arielle, like with the exact same spelling, which is really weird considering how random my name is. But that's not me.
Please check out everything that Christina's doing, all of the shows, everything coming out in the new year, which I'm excited to hear about personally. And Christina, one last time, it's just been a joy. Can't wait until we get to do this again.
I appreciate you. I adore you. You're a fantastic storyteller. And I am grateful for this time getting to know you as a person and a storyteller. So thank you for this experience.
Big same. Thank you. Chris.
Dawn.
We did it.
Yay! We did a show.
We did a show. So Chris, I remember when we first met, we first started talking about this, and I was kind of telling you how we wanted to do this crazy thing. I'm curious now that we've gone through it. We've done the big crossover finale with all of the players. How was it for you, and how different was it from what you'd imagined initially?
Well, I mean, the idea of DMing with another DM in the same campaign was already in and of itself like a hurdle. The idea of going, okay, it's the same. We have to keep feeding back to each other what's going on to make sure that we don't lock horns, and then going, oh no, now we're going to create situations where we do lock horns, and we're supposed to be locking horns, and it's important that we do. And then going, okay, how can we co-DM a scene even? Like the experience of running two campaigns in the same world, I would chalk up as oh cool, I didn't know that was going to work. It does work. It's fantastic. That's really good. Co-DMing a massive scene with 9 players. In my wildest dreams, no way would I have thought that worked. And it did. Like the ability for us to go, no, that's your bit. No, that's my bit. No, that's your bit. Seamlessly. I expected so many more like pauses and re-edits. No. Felt really slick and
super organic. It is nice. And what I've really appreciated, Chris, is like really, really good communication. And it helped a lot, obviously, when we had 11 of us tonight, all doing the same thing at the same time. But, I was anxious about this because it was a big idea. And I was like, maybe do we need to go 2 campaigns? Do we need to, but what we got to do is we got to tell a really big Dark Sun story. We went all over the place. We went to different worlds, different planes of existence. And in the first season, it was all in Valak. And with you in your campaign, which I was very lucky and very happy to get to play in my campaign, we went everywhere. So it felt, and it felt so good.
It felt like we took like the scope of this setup of Veiled Alliance and went, what are the edges? Like, how far can we push the scope of this? And how far can we both DM as we want to? Because we're very different DMs. Like, we have very different styles and very different attitudes. And it was the ability to go, does it matter? Can we add our own flair and style, but also still be in believably the same world with 2 very different groups of people? And I don't know how we pulled it off, but I think we did. And I think
so.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing. Really amazing.
Do you have, when you think about the campaign as a whole, all of the storylines that you ran or moments that you created, do you have one when you look back at it, you're like, yeah, that's my favorite, or that's like the standout episode or something that just kind of sits with you?
I have 3 moments, and they will be short. The first battle with the Silt Horror, the moment where, as Cord mentioned, the moment where we all first went, okay, we're doing this, and we're driving hard, and we're going to just play this high-octane, high-level combat and see how far we can push it. And it worked. The swashbuckling worked. It felt like a high-seas swashbuckling campaign with all the Dark Sun flavor still in it. And the fact that Toby was trying to push someone off a ship, push Praxis off a ship at the same time, and there were people swinging on ropes, and it was chaos, but it was gorgeous chaos, and it really set, as Cord said, and he's correct, set the tone for this whole thing in an absolutely wonderful way. And then Bree mentioned not too long ago about the Burnflower episode, the point where we started seeing people's limitations, and we started seeing how these characters support and work with and strive with each other. And that felt like the point when everyone started coming together as a team, as a group. And that's a moment that Gulag being dragged out of the out of the hole in the ground, but also all of the different things happening in that scene, everyone being part of trying to solve this problem. That also felt like a really wonderful episode and moment. There's so many others, but your death scene was also just... It felt so dramatically correct, and it was just dice rolls, which is always a wonderful D&D thing. When you look at it and go, if I was writing this, I would have put that in. The glue that kept the party together, dying to keep the party together, is a wonderful thing to do. And the fact that two party members, when they leveled up next, both took levels of cleric, really reinforced how much impact Gulag had, and made that moment feel so much more important and valid and relevant. And yeah, those are the things I won't forget.
Yeah, I remember all those moments really, really fondly too, amongst many, many others.
Yeah.
I'll say, like, as Gulag, for me, I was really excited to get to play. I run so many games. I've never, not since I was a young, like maybe a teenager, like a young teenager, have I played in a Dark Sun game. And I love the setting. So I was very excited to get to play a half giant, right? But I also recognize the seams in old Dark Sun where there's some problematic things that haven't aged well and some stereotypes that maybe we could do better than. And so I was really excited with Gulag to play, like, here's your massive, axe wielding half giant. But what I really wanted to accomplish with him and his story was to say, not everyone in Dark Sun has given up hope. Not everyone in Dark Sun doesn't trust or believe in other people. And in the campaign where there's so much paranoia, it was really, really fun for me to get to play a character who did trust other people. And I took a lot of chances. I'm not surprised that he died. I had really good dice rolls throughout the campaign, but I ran dry, and that's D&D. I loved it. But
I will say
I think,
it's an interesting point about Dark Sun, because when you approached me about the campaign and when you said it was set in Dark Sun, I'm not going to lie, there was a moment of alarm bells, because I'm a trans DM, and there are things about Dark Sun that I find difficult, obviously, and there are things that I know other players find difficult about it. But going nothing needs to be kept sacrosanct. You can take any setting and make it your own and make it work for you, and you as a DM have your own drives and ambitions and goals and what you want and what your players want and how they all fit together. So I think there was a lovely moment at the top of this when you talked about who you wanted to play, and when you mentioned playing a half giant who is everyone's friend and wants to trust and help. And I'd watched the first campaign and gone, but that really helped define all of the pieces, helped fit them all together. Yeah, I will miss Gulag as a character. I really will. There was a really lovely heart there.
I loved the story, and I loved all the other characters and getting to play with everyone too. I loved getting to run for everybody as well, and at least in the finale for briefly, I got to run a little bit for everybody, and that was super exciting for me too. And I could go on and on about all of the really cool moments throughout all of the campaigns and season. I'll say that when I think of the year 2020 and all of its challenges and all of the things that people have experienced, for me, when I look back in the future on 2020, the story that I'll remember is Rise of the Veiled Alliance, because it started at the beginning of the year and it's ending at the end of the year. And it was a full, big story. It's been a big part of my life, and I really value the relationships and the friendships that have come out of it. As a DM, like, if I had to pick a favorite section, I'm gonna say the finale.
Over the whole thing. No, take a sec. You have DM'd about 75% of this. You have played in the other 25%. So you've experienced the whole thing. You have the overarching view. One moment, and not like the big end game, one tiny moment, the little thing where you went, this defines it for me. This is the moment that makes it.
I don't know if I can pick just one. I'm terrible at that. But I'll pick three.
Oh, yeah.
I'll pick three. All of the players getting to see the resolution of their character arcs, like how their stories end individually, was really, really cool. And a lot of it had to do with old choices they made a long time ago that had a huge impact down the line. and I love that kind of storytelling. But I will say that I loved seeing Cord's Cronkwall ending. I love this image of the empty shell over time at the top of the mountain. I loved that he went back to the hatchling on Schult, which that was something that happened all the way back in the third episode. I mean, we recorded, I think we played that episode in February. And it was a really great moment, a really great episode. And I love that that's where he went back to tell that story, to tell his story to the next generation. I love that kind of thing. There's the final battle with all of the betrayal, Rysar and Dia turning against each other, and Dia and Laguerre turning against each other, and throughout all of the and Kita too, and Horson stopping Kita, and then Horson and Kita working together, all of the tension, and somehow they still made it through because they had to. And I loved seeing how that played out, because there's no way to predict how that would have gone. And I thought it went wonderfully. And then there was, in the last episode, sort of a eulogy given on top of the mountain or halfway up the mountain by Horson. And there was something about, I didn't even have to say anything. I just watched, this eulogy, and in a lot of ways it summed up kind of the political story that's underneath at least a good portion of the campaign, not all of it, which is, why do we allow these people to have power over us, and what can we do to change it? And there is a spirit of meaningful change that grew and grew over the course of the campaign, and from characters who didn't care at first, and then they ended up caring, some of them. And maybe that just hits close to home for me, but it really, that eulogy really resonated with me in everything that's going on in the world. And I thought it encapsulated the spirit of, when I originally imagined what this campaign might be, what it was. Also, just Toby being evil, and just Toby's complete, just like throwing anybody under the bus, murdering anybody he can to get ahead, but doing it and still somehow surviving. So props, Toby, you made it. Everybody bet against you, but you came out on top. So
I will say this for Toby, and I've said it before, but it's worth repeating. Toby is an exceptional player. Is an absolutely exceptional player. And also in campaigns where it's not all about him, there is a, how do I take this scene, this moment, and just add in flavor, style, purpose, drive. He's a wonderful addition to any campaign. And it's another moment there where you see this end of an arc where you go, this one was all about you, but also at the end with Dia making clear that he thinks he made an error. That's an in-character moment of, not like, this doesn't make Rysar a nice person, far from it, but it does give you that sense of, this person is not entirely comfortable, not entirely happy.
Yeah. I think it's a brilliant, I that's why I chose, like, very specifically, Gulag is always going to support Rysar, probably. Because I love seeing Rysar break bad when Rysar broke bad. So there's a lot of amazing things. I'm very grateful for this experience and all of these wonderful storytellers and human beings I've got to interact with. And that's it. Before we kind of say goodbye here, Chris, do you have anything going on that you want to shout out, or where can people find you?
So much stuff, as always. When I'm not working here, which I now do more, I have a job at LFM now, which is absolutely wonderful, and thank you so much for the opportunity. I can't wait to do more. I also run a company called Roll Together. We make streamed RPGs like everyone else does. We have shows we stream on Monday and Tuesday evenings. I DM some of them, not all of them. I play in some of them as well, which is really nice. How rarely do we get to play, Don? But yeah, it's yeah, it's really good to have that. So yes, Roll Together RPG on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all the rest of it. Check us out. We're a bunch of UK gamers, and we spend a lot of time playing D&D5e mostly.
And yeah, check out LFM. We'll have a bunch of new things coming up in the near future, and pleased to have a new job, as always. How about you, Don? Where can we find you?
Well, if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Donathan Fry pretty much anywhere. I write games. I get to work with some amazing publishers, and I run games, a lot professionally. It's a joy. I feel so grateful and lucky to get to do it. You can find out what I'm up to on Twitter at Donathan Fry. I'm also the creative director here at LFM, and we are in the planning stages for what comes next. And what I love about my position as the creative director of LFM is that I get to help now, as we're growing, other people tell their stories. And I love telling stories, but almost as much. I love helping other people get to tell the stories that they want to tell. And I really look forward just to be able to continue to do that. So thank you all very, very much for being here. Thank you for joining us for our story. To our sponsors, Lambert House, Dark Dice, Wormwood Gaming, Level Up Dice, and Warriors of Waterdeep, which is an amazing mobile game. If you want to play D&D and you don't have anybody to play with, download it on your phone, on your tablet. They are phenomenal. And I want to, one last time, thank our moderators. Thank you for looking out for our chat, keeping things fun and safe, engaging with our story, and spending time with us. And to the viewers on Twitch, on YouTube, you could be watching anything. You could be doing anything with your free time, but you're here watching us play D&D, have fun with friends, and tell a story. And that's crazy to me. It's crazy to me that we have that support. And I couldn't say how grateful I am for it. So thank you very much. This has been an amazing tale, an amazing campaign, and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next. That's all. Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.